Alright, I think we'll start this video with some real talk, talking about what's up with all these various projects you've seen, and then I'll get more into the specific thing that I'm working on right now. So first off, I don't know if you've noticed, I doubt very many people peruse my channel if they just kind of find my content on a whim, but if you do, you'll notice that there's all sorts of random projects just scattered about. Like, the most recent one that I have video footage of is Super Cario Galaxy. But honestly, that was more of just an experiment, and as a proof of concept, it kind of works. I don't really see myself revisiting that unless I have just like a brainwave idea, like I need to do something with that. Cardboard Cats, on the other hand, that was a project that I was working on with a friend that we were really serious about, but I'll get to the reason that didn't pan out later, because I need to explain some other things, like Adventure World. Yes, Adventure World is what I'd call a passion project. It kind of falls under the same category as something like Chain Playground, where it's something that I'm really passionate about, that I put a lot of time into, but I also have really high standards for it. And because I'm kind of a perfectionist and someone who also struggles to visualize things in my mind or have a clear picture of what I want, it's really hard to, for me at least, to achieve anything that feels significant to myself in those projects. The good thing about Chain Playground, though, is that it's basically finished. Like, it's feature complete, it has all the features, it may not look pretty, but it is a complete product, and you actually can go try it out for yourself. It's free. I might put a link in the description. Shameless plug. But Adventure World is something that you can't play, because it's not finished. I've made all sorts of different iterations. There's obviously the 3D open world version of it that, I mean, it got kind of to a prototype sort of state. And then we've also got, if I scroll down far enough, we've got when it was, Pikmin Test, I remember that. I was going to be serious about that too, but I kind of dropped that as well. It's mostly because Pikmin is copyrighted and I couldn't really go very far with that. I couldn't do the normal thing of release it when it's done, and so there wasn't much motivation to work on that. But anyway, as I was saying, different iterations of Adventure World, like the 3D one, and the top-down 2D 16-bit version of it. There was also, if I look for the thumbnail of my games retrospective, there was the 2D JavaScript browser game. Those first two, if you watch that video, those two are technically finished, but then again, they're my first game projects. The point is that Adventure World is a project that I keep picking up and I keep dropping because I just can't manifest the image that's in my head, because there really is no image in my head. Like, it's more of an idea than a concept, and so it's been hard to flesh out and execute. And I was actually working on it again. I don't really have anything to show because I was taking a different approach where I don't even bother with graphics. It's basically just a dialogue system is what it is. And I was working on that, and that was going to be it. That was going to be Adventure World, the final form, the magnum opus, I guess you could say. But I got burnt out on that too when I started to think, well, when I do get to the graphics part of it, I'm not sure it's going to look good, or this story that I've got working isn't really complete, and I couldn't come up with a good full story. I was slowly realizing again, the same thing that I keep realizing over and over again, but it never sticks, that I don't really have a full image in my head, and I'm holding myself to these arbitrarily high standards that I can't possibly meet because they're almost not even tangible or real. And so it's at that point that I realized working on passion projects is not really going to pan out for me personally. And so I thought, okay, I've seen advice where the thing you do is you start with something simple. And I have started with simple things before, but me being overeager, I've always tried to jump the gun. It's like, hey, I made this. Let's try and extrapolate this into an RPG. Don't make RPGs. If I can give anyone advice, if you're a starting out game developer, don't make RPGs. Just don't. There's too much that goes into it, but that's a tangent. The point is, I think I need to stick with making simpler things first, where the stakes aren't as high. Like, it's not a passion project that's like a set of characters, or in the case of Chain Playground, a game mechanic that I'm just super attached to. And so that is why I am making the worst 3D platformer to ever exist. Now, I don't actually want to make it terrible. Like, if the platforming itself is bad, I'm not going to go forward with it. Like, the platforming already is, I guess, decent, but the thing is, if I can't stand to play it, I can't stand to make it. So even though the quality of the game itself isn't supposed to be that good, it has to at least function as the label that is slapped onto it. So the platforming has to at least be decent. And that is where we are now. I will demonstrate to you this project I have. So I whipped up this little featureless, blocky character dude, which we're looking at from behind right now. I'm waiting for Unity to do its thing so that we can get in-game. So it's got some basic Mixamo animations. Mixamo has been a godsend for me lately. Like, they don't have very many animations, but they have really good, like, basic example animations that you can use for testing, and it just plugs right into Unity's Mechanim system, and it's just cool. And the animations, honestly, aren't too bad. Like, so far, this is a Mixamo running animation. We've got a Mixamo walking animation, which I could probably demonstrate if I walk at an angle. Nope, that's the sidestep. I can't really... I'm using WAS, so I don't have joystick-level precision here. But there's a walking animation in the blend tree that you can't see. We've got an airborne animation, and it looks cool. And you can see that I'm walking around. You could probably tell that the character's really snappy. And even though I know that's, at least in my experience, how stuff doesn't tend to control, I like how this controls anyway. I think I'm going to keep it like that. But... yeah, we have this character. It's using Unity's good old character controller. We can walk down slopes, and it keeps us stuck to the slopes really well. We can walk up slopes, and we can walk off of edges just fine. And also the age-old problem where you're a bean and you can, like, hang off of ledges. Like, that is a little bit of a problem still. We can get to this point, which is just where it stops being visibly standing, and then it automatically slides me off. I made a system for that, which I will get to later because it has some serious bugs. We got that problem kind of solved. We got the jumping. I've got the thing where you can just tap. You get that kind of jump, but you can hold jump to give you a higher jump that makes you more floaty. You know, just good old platformer stuff. We got some test slopes. We have a ladder that, if I have to admit it, it's clearly a text object with a bunch of H's stacked on top of each other. And to top it all off, it doesn't do anything. It literally is just text. It serves no purpose. We got this lovely hole in the floor that goes off into the abyss that looks like it has a ramp at the bottom. That's cool. Been testing the sliding mechanic. And we also have slipping. Actually, wait, hold on. Before we do slipping, let me demonstrate stairs real quick. Stairs work fine. Going up, it's a little bumpy, but the fact of the matter is these are actually stairs. It's not like a fake ramp. Walking downstairs is a little finicky. That was weird. Yeah, walking downstairs is a little finicky, but I could probably fix that. We got this kind of stairs. I'm actually... interesting. That doesn't really work very well, but we'll get to that later. And we've got, of course, this, which I slide down because it's too steep. But we also have slipping. So if we look at my character controller, you can see that the slope limit is 45 degrees. And this is a 40-degree slope that I can walk on just fine. You can see that I'm walking up and down it just fine. Same with this 30 and the 20 and obviously the 10. That's the shallowest slope so far. But this 50, that's greater than 45. So if I'm going to turn off gizmos to give you a better look. If we land on this, I slide down it. Now that sliding animation is actually a custom one that I made. It's basically just a pose with like minimal limb movement. I've been trying to learn animation. It's kind of fun, but I'm not really to the point where I could like do all the animations for a game. Mixamo is really going to be my friend here, but of course we also have sliding on your stomach. That works too. It picks the animation to use based on your angle relative to the slope, so that works just fine. But the thing that does not work very fine is that aforementioned mechanic where it slides you off of a ledge, you know, to try and combat that weird quirk of capsule colliders. This here, like that seemed like it worked okay. And I could reduce the ledge angle. Where is it? I can't read. Yeah, let's reduce that to 20. And we should get some better results, actually. Yeah, 20 might just be a better value for that, actually. Can I still walk off the edges just fine? Yeah, that's still fine. But allow me to demonstrate a weird quirk. Let me get on a ledge that's really high up and see if I can do this. I've been practicing this. There we go. Got it. First try. And did you see how I just got yeeted downwards? Yeah, that is a problem. I'm going to go back up there, and I also have a feature where I can change the time scale. That's been really useful for debugging. But I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to go in 1/4 speed, and I'm going to do some editing magic and show you some stuff to do with the properties over here on the right. And then we're going to investigate what's happening. I mean, I already know what's happening, but I'll teach you what's happening. So let's see if I made this jump. I think I did. There we go. I'm in contact with the surface. I'm running up against it. That blue upwards vector is starting to go downwards, and then we hit the ground. Or we get launched and we hit the ground. So basically what happens is as we're standing on that slope, it's trying to slide us down it. And so it's using extern velocity for that, which is basically the component of your motion that's not controlled by your input, with the exception of jumping. Jumping does put velocity into it. Like if I jump here, you can see that it's going up. But of course, sliding and ledge sliding both use external velocity to try and slide you off that slope. But the issue comes with how ledge sliding does it. Well, not the fact of how it does it, the fact that it shares the same external velocity as everything else. So it does build up because you're constantly fighting it. You're managing to move... Oh, I got a Discord message. You're managing to move in a direction opposite what it's pushing you, and you're managing to fight it since it's mostly trying to push you down, but you're going horizontally. And it's building up until a point where it can actually finally overcome like the angle that you're at and stuff like that, and it releases all at once. And since you're switching into the airborne state, you keep that external velocity, because that external velocity does the most in the airborne state, because, it's completely unrestricted. So obviously that means that a plausible fix for this would be to have like a second external velocity for ledge slipping, which is my planned fix. But other than that, this is all I really have to show. This is the platformer that I've got. We've got that drop shadow. Not drop shadow, it's called a blob shadow, I think. You can see that it snaps to whatever surface, and you can see that it doesn't project through this. Like originally when I first implemented it, the shadow was up here, but it was also on the ground below and also on the underside of this platform. But I've got it all worked out, and it seems to work pretty well. But yeah, so far, it seems like it's pretty good. And while I can't promise that this project will come to fruition, at least I will have like a 3D platformer framework that comes out of it that I could use for really anything. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you watched all the way through. And yeah, I guess I'll see you when I see you.